We now know the names of all 10 victims in that horrific school shooting in Santa Fe, Texas. Those 10 right there. 2 substitute teachers and 8 students killed in the rampage. The big question is, how do we prevent another one? Well, our next guest calls mass shootings a hybrid threat to our society, one that requires both tactical and strategic solutions. Here to explain, retired Delta Force operator and 25-year Army veteran, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Reese. Colonel, thank you very much for joining us this morning. So let's just start up front. You say tactical and strategic solutions are needed to prevent it. What are you talking about?
Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
I do. You know, and as we've been watching now for months and really since January, you know, we've had all these horrific attacks on our schools. There's a lot of discussion about tactical operations. You know, whether that's more officers in the schools, arming teachers, hardening the schools with metal detectors and single-point entrances. And all those are viable solutions, but there really have to be a state solution because different states have different ideas. And if you listen to the students down at the ground level, they have their own issues also. Mm-hmm. At the federal level, though, I look at, you know, a strategic solution, which what I would call a digital media campaign. You know, and a lot of baby boomers will remember this, is remember the your drugs on brain with the frying pan and dropping the egg into the pan.
This is your brain on drugs, yeah.
Exactly. You know, when I was a young man, boy, I remember that. I remember that to this day. And I remember when I was 14 years old, and I remember my first time I saw someone pull drugs out. I thought about that media campaign that came out there. And it was an information campaign, and it made me say, no, I didn't want to do it. We have a great media campaign in the U.S. since 9/11 at DHS, which is see something, say something. That is it's taken years and people are starting to get that. Mm-hmm. So why don't we do this now to start helping to educate, you know, these students and the folks that might be out there thinking about these things and show them the realities of what happens in these school shootings?
Yeah, so you're saying at the tactical level, states decide, they harden the target, they arm teachers, you've got more officers. At the national level, though, we need a campaign, ultimately, so that kids are talking to other kids and saying, hey, I've noticed this, or I saw this Facebook post, or he put out this Instagram post, and I'm worried about it. It doesn't mean you have to get into every aspect of everyone's life, but if it's on everyone's brain, now you've got intel at the ground level, but it's a branding campaign, right? It's building something that people catch on to.
Absolutely. You know, and not to be coy about this, but I mean, people have been using, what do you want to call it, branding, information operations, I mean, all types of societies. I mean, look at our threats around the world with Al-Qaeda and ISIS, what they do with digital media and branding themselves to get their message out. So, you know, at the federal level, that's something we can do. It's bipartisan, and at the end of the day, it's not that expensive. And then to let the states decide what they want to do at the state level, the local level, and the feds, if they can, just push in there the financing.
It's a good idea, a bunch of good ideas. Lieutenant Colonel Jim Reese, thank you for your time and for your service to our country. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Pete. You too.
All right. Well, Hollywood can't help but bash the president, of course, but new poll numbers out this morning may show Americans are getting a little bit sick of it. There's also things called ratings that show that. And the White House is about to ban clinics like